Hey there, how's it going? My name is David. Welcome back to Kai City RC on this very windy day here in Yamanashi. Apologies, the wind outside is crazy, so I think the microphone is probably going to pick it up. So if you hear wind noise, apologies for that. It's done. The Yokomo Super Dog Fighter YZ870C is finished. So in this video, I'm just going to share my build experience and some thoughts on the buggy now it's done. As my reviews tend to be on the long side, and I know people have got other things to do, the short answer is this is fantastic. It's wonderful. It's awesome. If you're on the fence about picking one up, don't be, just go out and get one. You will not be disappointed, especially if you're a fan of re-releases from Tamiya Kyosho, whoever. You will not be disappointed. Definitely pick one up. That's the short answer. The long answer, well, I think a lot of people are going to be concerned that it's expensive, even in Japan, but especially so outside of Japan. Is it worth the money? And to my mind, yes, but it depends how you look at it. Purely from value for money, what you actually get in the box in terms of materials and stuff, it's not that great, just because the design is such that it's very, what I want to call, elegantly simple. There's nothing on the buggy that you don't need. Yokomo themselves say that it's designed to maximize efficiency and minimize drivetrain losses, and so the transmission is very simple but effective. And the buggy itself uses lots of parts is shared between the front and rear. Just many instances where one person would look at it and say that's cost cutting, but and another person would say no, that's smart thinking, because you're minimizing the amount of time you have to spend fixing it, because there's not that much that could go wrong in it. So purely from a value for money point of view, some people might be, it's not really worth it, but nostalgia. What price do you put on nostalgia? The chance to own a world championship winning buggy that is, its designers had input from some of the most famous RC drivers in the history of RC. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm sure people are going to ask, the body is PS3 light blue. The under tray is PS33 candy red. It's a pretty good match for the wheels. It's not exact, it's a little bit darker than the wheels. I'm hoping the camera's going to pick this up. It's a little bit darker. Perhaps if I back the PS33 with white, it might lighten up a bit. And the rear wing is PS57 pearl white. I went with pearl white just because I wanted to kind of try and match the natural white plastic. So there's the color. So let's pop the body off. And there it is, all done. I'll put a slideshow of the build process so you can get an idea of the steps involved. Quality is superb. The plastic quality is very good. All of the metal parts are of the highest quality, whether it be the cast aluminium bulkheads or the machined aluminium or whatever. The quality is top notch. Certainly on a par with anything of the Kyosho's legendary series, Avanti, Egress, those kind of things. So yeah, it goes together well. I want to talk a bit more about the buggy in a second, but first I want to talk about the manual. I feel that the manual could be a little bit better. If you've built any recent Yokomos, then you'll be right at home with this manual. And it's a good manual, don't get me wrong, it's a good manual, but there's very little in the way of guidance, descriptive guidance. It's all just how to assemble them, but not necessarily how to set up. So a good example would be the slipper clutch. You can see here. It's a modern day Yokomo slipper clutch, and it tells you how to assemble it, but it doesn't tell you what the initial settings should be. So normally it'd say, like, for example, 3 or 4 millimeters from the end of the main shaft, or tighten it up 3 or 4 turns and then back it off, something. Absolutely no guidance. So you're just flying by. If you've got experience building kits, then it's not an issue. But for newcomers or people who are buying this, and haven't been in RC for a long time, and this is the reason they're getting back into RC, it might be a little bit daunting. Likewise, the belt tensioner, again, it tells you how to assemble it, but it doesn't tell you how to set the belt tension. And that led me to actually download the original manual. Yokomo make the original manual available to download. I'll put a link down below. It's in Japanese, but you can use Google Translate. And once I started referring to the original manual, I realized that with a lot of these re-releases, the manufacturers are kind of missing an opportunity. I don't want to say selling you short, but they're missing an opportunity. For this to make sense, I really do recommend you have a look at the original manual. I'll put some screen grabs on, but when you look at the original manual, you realize just how old school the build process was and how much more involved it was. And it just brings back memories of, like, sat there on the bench with my dad, both of us working on assembling the car, because you need to use hand tools, drills, vise, file, all kinds of stuff. The parts would go together, but you need to prepare the parts before assembly, or you need to, make preparations. It wasn't just simply a case of connect this, connect that, screw that together, screw this together. And I feel that is part of the nostalgia, because most of the people buying this are going to buy it for nostalgia. They wanted one back in the day, or they were lucky enough to have one back in the day, and they wanted, they want to relive their childhood or whatever. Nostalgia is a main draw. And to my mind, it's not just about running the completed buggy or, admiring it on a shelf. It's about the whole process, the unboxing, the building, and then the running. And they've nailed the actual buggy itself, but I feel manufacturers could do a little bit more to kind of, I don't know, the build process. Because when I was looking through the old manual, I was like, it would be so nice if this had a manual like that. You know, maybe perhaps not going to the extreme of having to, you know, file down parts and those kind of things, but you know, it was just totally different experience. By the way, digress a little bit. There is a supplementary piece of paper. Make sure you refer to this if you are building the 870C, because although there are a few minor corrections in terms of screw lengths, one of them concerns drilling holes for the under tray. So if you do not look at this, you will drill holes in the wrong place and they won't match up. So just a heads up there. Okay, the build itself, what can I tell you? Heads up pointers. It's pretty simple. There's not much to it, to be honest. I would say the front and rear diffs are identical. The only thing to be careful of with the disc is the gasket is paper thin, easily torn, so be careful when assembling the diffs. What else can I tell you? The design is very symmetrical, so the front and rear share a lot of the same parts. For example, the steering knuckles, you actually get two sets in left and right. The reason being, you use the same ones on the rear, you just rotate them 90 degrees and they become the rear uprights. Turnbuckles are pretty tight, tight fit, so I recommend putting a little bit of grease on the turnbuckles first, and it will make adjustments a lot easier. Likewise, when you come to put the rod ends over the ball studs, the fit is you need quite a bit of force in order to get them to mount, so just be wary of that. If you're building in a really cold environment, you might want to just warm things up a bit just to, you know, reduce the risk of the plastic cracking, although the plastic is of very high quality. What else can I tell you? Dampers are aluminium bodies, but everything else is plastic, including the adjustment collar, so just be careful screwing that on. You don't want to cross thread that. What else can I tell you? Oh, again, going back to the manual, if you're not sure about slipper clutch adjustment, there's loads of guides online. It doesn't tell you in the manual what to set it at, so just check those guides out. YouTube is full of them, and just work from there. Likewise, the belt tensioner, it doesn't tell you, so again, you don't want it to be too loose, but again, you don't want it to be too tight, putting too much pressure on the belt. At the rear, you've got a rear sway bar, and right here there's this basically small washer with like a serrated edge on it. Yokomo call this their sway bar stopper. These are a right pain to install, and it took me the best part of 10 minutes just to get one on, and it was a right. And so once again, I refer to the original manual, and they've got lots of helpful hints in how to set these up. So once again, if I haven't already convinced you, go and download the original manual. I'm beginning to wonder if Yokomo knew this was going to happen and kind of preemptively made the manual available for download, because at the time of recording, the manual for this is not available, just the original one. But that's about it really. There's not a lot to it, to be honest. There's hardly any shims in the kit because it doesn't need them. Yeah, overall very pleased. The only tricky part I'd say is the body, and that's mainly due to the fact that you've got these very narrow crevices, wing fins. If you're using spray cans like I am, it's kind of difficult to get the paint right down into the crevices. The body wasn't too bad, but the rear wing really deep, and so very, very tricky to get paint right down here, so just be aware of that. But that's it really. Looking forward to getting it run, so I'm going to shut up here. Thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a wonderful 2024, and I'll see you in the next one.